I'm already packing my luggage, and I understood that my sketchbook actually weighs too much. You see how thick and big it is. So I guess I'm going to destroy it and just keep a couple of pages out of that. So right now I'm going to create the review on that because it could be pretty interesting. It has images from 2024, 2025, and some of them were actually realized as the big artworks that were even exhibited. So yeah, let's go. Here it is. I really enjoyed using it, and it has this custom cover that I've made out of that. It was just a simple Van Gogh cover, which is beautiful, but I wanted something more personalized. And as you can see, it's some Chinese production. I don't know the exact brand, but the quality of paper is pretty good, so I may recommend you to purchase that if you would find something similar. I took them on the local market, but I also saw similar ones on Temu. Alright, so it all started from a little graphic works of the Fool. It's the Tarot Arcana Fool because it's the beginning, so I guess it would be pretty interesting to start with that. And at that moment I was interested in creating graphics like this, working with the liners. So here is the little study of the shapes and shadows. Here's another work. You see, I've tried to make some kind of perspective, also working with liners and ink markers. This one, it was pretty cool before I covered it with this purple. And if you're familiar with the Elder Scrolls video games series, you would recognize that. It's the portal to the Shivering Islands from Oblivion, which is one of my favorite video games. Here is just sketches for some photo shoot that I was planning to do, but it was not actually realized. Studies of hands, drawing hands. Yeah, more hands and some random stuff. Yeah, here is some ideas for the photo shoot as well, which I didn't make. Here are some ideas for street art. I was actually thinking of creating a kind of a shrine from the extrusion foam and kind of graffiti, and I wanted to make it on the abandoned building and leave a little altar with candles there, so when random people or homeless people maybe would go there and they could see it, and it would be interesting to imagine their reaction when they would see something like this in the random abandoned building. Here are more of such ideas on how to perform some kind of interactive street art, but I never did it actually. More of that. Well, this is the reference for the photo that I've created. I found the pretty interesting location of the abandoned swimming pool in Tbilisi, and I created such photo right there. This is the sketch for the mask that I was creating for some party. I don't remember what kind of party was that, but I actually did it. And this you may recognize if you've seen some of my previous videos. It's the sketch for the work called The Illumination, and it was exhibited as a part of Setrenitas exhibition here in Tbilisi. It was pretty cool. The covers for the perfume series. My friend was making his own perfume series, and he had some conceptual ideas like the bag of tea or kind of something like sugar, citrus. I was meant to create the covers for those items, but it never happened actually. This is the sketch for like concrete sculpture that I wanted to make, and I pretty enjoy this actually, so I guess I would create it someday. This was the concept board for the reels. One of the first reels that I've made seriously. I've written all the script and produced some different shots, as you see. Some stuff. Actually, I cut off plenty of images out of that. You could see them as my graphic works, and some reels. This is the image from the sleep paralysis. See, it's kind of person, me actually, laying on a bed in this dark shadow, standing and staring at me during the night. Some ideas. I don't know what actually was that. Also some ideas for paintings which were not created. This was the background for a little stop motion animation with a butterfly that I've created. Well, this is the interesting thing. This is the concept board for another stop motion animation called Transcendence. It's showing kind of the process of the soul becoming bigger and bigger and entering the cosmos, standing in the middle of the galaxy, and then combining with the whole, like, infinite source, infinite consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so here it is. I actually saved this little bodies. Yeah, so here are them. It was produced like that. I put this aluminum figure that represented soul, and at first I've covered it with this black, and then I moved this thing and added lesser bodies, this and then this. It kind of grew through all these backgrounds. You see the house and tree becoming smaller on the background, and further, it's becoming more, entering the cosmos, and then it's entering this spiritual realm and becoming like blended into that. I don't know what is that. Don't exactly remember what is that about. Well, I enjoy this work even though it's not stylistically very pleasant for me, but the composition came out pretty good. But I actually take it out of the movie, so if you're into fantasy you may recognize that. Write in comments if you know which movie I'm talking about. This sketch was actually created as a graphic work a year later, I guess. This is pretty interesting, kind of documentary, because all of that is the view from the bed, like me laying on the bed and seeing the rooms out of all of my flats that I've rented after the immigration. So here is the last flat that I live in right now, and I'm leaving it soon, so I guess I would create this series and I would add next in the further times. some random ideas. Here I was testing my logo, as you can see. Some graffiti style. So I don't know. Yeah, this work you may recognize. It's the work The Ascension, which was part of the Trinitas series. Here are another ideas for the Trinitas collection, which were not realized. So this is the old work, the noosphere, that I've already created, and this is kind of the idea of the zine related to the Trinitas collection, but I never did the zine, but made a series of big works that were exhibited. So yeah, this is the Transfiguration. This is the mace. Well, that was the idea for the installation on the street exhibition, but in some way I was confused to create this clear solar imagery because I didn't want to conflict with the locals, because a lot of them are really into the Orthodox Christianity, and I guess this kind of thing can be recognized as some kind of pagan thing and raise negativity towards the work, and I didn't want to create any kind of conflicts, so I've made it more neutral. It lost something in that, but I'm okay with that. This is the idea of the artwork, the Funambulist, that I've created in large scale, but it was never exhibited. But I enjoyed this work and the realization. I guess it's pretty relevant. This was the work from my dream. It's my country house, and I've made this sketch in the beginning of 2025, and I've actually added this as the part of the little work dedicated to the dreams, which I've created in the beginning of this year, 2026, and it was exhibited recently. So this sketch actually also found its way into the world. This is the sketch of my country house as well. This is my first workbench. You see, it was just a little school table with a little anvil made out of the rail, and I had some simple instruments like the, I don't know how to name this, it's the cut metal, and some stuff like hammers, and I was creating different things out of the rusty sheets of metal that I found in the garden. I was creating like armor and swords and that kind of medieval stuff. So yeah, that was really fun, and I spent time there during the summer holidays when I was a kid. That was cool. Studies of the Heads. That was the cover for the YouTube podcast. It was me, and that were guys that we were talking with. Well, this is the concept out of the lucid dreams, which was actually also integrated into this work about dreams. This idea is the plot out of the lucid dream when I was trying to fly, and most of the times I could do it easily, but sometimes I found out that when I reach the level of the electricity line, it's pretty hard to fly through that, and that's pretty interesting effect that I was experiencing in the lucid dream, and it was repeatedly happening to me, so it has some kind of special meaning, I guess. That was my little art for the starter pack trend, if you remember that, about a year ago on TikTok, and Instagram reels. Everybody created those AI images for the starter pack, and I did also at first, but then I did this anti-AI starter pack as the alternative, which came out pretty interesting. That was the plan for the self-installation, which was made out of cardboard, and I was calculating the length of each part. So yeah, and then I've cut it off and it became the physical object. The ideas for the artwork, the onion from 2025, and it's representing the parts of the soul according to the ancient Egypt mythology. Some other sketches and ideas for the little statues and figurines. Well, the sketches for the triptych basic shapes that I've created in large scale, so it came out pretty interesting. Here I was testing the handprint made out of the acrylic sealant, so I made the metrics with the acrylic sealant, covered it with acrylics, and printed out. And that was for the limited editions for the autumn equinox 2020. It had 10 editions. And that was sketches for the works that I was supposed to create for the 2025 Inktober. It's the mustache and it's the weave, and I've actually created them. Well, that was the sketch for the big installation incandescence that I actually created and exhibited on Secret Revolution Festival in September 2025. That's the illustrations for the archetypes according to Carol Pearson. You see this: the innocent, the sage, the explorer, the hero, and so on. Yeah, so I've tried to create some icons for that. That was the preparation for the lecture, which I repurposed and never used that. It was too bright and colorful for me. Yeah. That thing, I was experimenting with a new method, which I was talking about in some of my previous videos. That's some words from Hebrew, because I'm learning Hebrew right now. So it also became kind of a little note. Yeah, I guess that's it. I've got just a couple of pages left. So, well, that was fun, because actually I do not really look into my old sketchbooks very often. I guess you enjoyed it too. And I'm going to create the reviews on my other sketchbooks, which are actually a lot thinner and they have much less imagery in them, but I could also tell some stories behind those images. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching. Please let me know what you think about this review in comments, and also please like and subscribe, because it will help the channel a lot. And if you want to support me even more, you could buy me a coffee through the Ko-Fi service. I'll leave the link in the description, and I would be really grateful for that. Wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next one.